and somebody not getting a job. Somebody gets married, sits down 6 a.m. in Koil, and then Baruch Hashem, he's benched every year with a child. So he has 14 children, and he doesn't go to work. He just sits and learns. Why is that different? Well, what's the difference? What do you mean? That's a tremendous person, right? We say, whoa, look at this guy. What about Bitachon? And the other guy never went, and somebody who never goes to a doctor and walks around on train tracks, we say he's Michiganer. So what's the difference?
Well, one is directly putting himself in danger.
Oh, so he doesn't walk on train tracks. He just never ever goes to a doctor, never does any exercise, and all he eats is yapchik and chont and drinks beer.
Why are you describing?
That's all he does.
I think you're describing me over here.
I'm not describing you.
Jacob, what do we have to do to What's going on here?
Jacob, I didn't want to say anything, Jacob. Fuck.
Parrish, he's calling us out here on this one. Baron, what did we ever do to you?
And a Hanami, I think you might have something to that could be a problem.
So what? But what's the difference? Yeah, okay.
No,
I don't know.
I think so. I think so. That's not. I'm saying you. I don't think it's called suicide per se, but it's bad. It's bad.
But I'm saying the guy who's sitting in Kailul, who doesn't do anything to get any kind of money, do we look at him as good or he's not good?
I don't know. They had an asifa last Sunday night. They sure looked at him like they're good in Lakewood, the 20,000 people.
I don't see how you draw one thing is good to have betach and the other thing is bad to have betach. I don't see the difference.
Well, then because 1 second, because parnasa we know is biyad. I mean, everything's biyad Hashem, but parnasa we know you could run and do business from today till tomorrow. If Hashem doesn't want to take care, He's not going to take care. I
don't see.
I don't know if you can compare parnasa necessarily to parnasa necessarily to how do you call it? To health.
And the Ramban says you shouldn't go to a doctor, yeah?
Yeah, for internal things.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
And he's a Rishon, and this lady was not a Rishon.
True. If it's a lady.
It's a lady.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see.
Fine.
All right, so we're on Kuf Dalet Amud Beis on the bottom. Yeah, the 2 lines up in the bottom, Kuf Dalet Amud Beis. So we had said that according to, we were talking about if a woman spits at her brothers-in-law, right? A Yevamos spits at her brother-in-law. So we had said that there's a chashash that maybe her spitting did a chalitza, and therefore she's also from then on she's also to have yibum to her brother-in-law, right? So, but we said it certainly can't go according to Rabbi Kiva, because Rabbi Kiva holds that just spitting is nothing. So he holds that just spitting, meaning if a woman does chalitza with just spitting, then it's nothing. So I'm going to ask, Umi Omer Rabbi Kiva, around the bottom line now. Kuf Dalet Amud Beis. Umi Omer Rabbi Kiva, Rekika like pasla. Did Rabbi Kiva really say that spitting doesn't make them puzzle? Meaning, if she does, only thing she does is spits, she would still be allowed to do yibum with her brothers-in-law. Fatanya, we learned in the Brisa, chalitza, it's very similar to the Mishnah. Chalitza, if she did chalitza onto today's daf, but loy rakaka, she did the chalitza part, meaning she took off the shoe. The loy rakaka, she didn't spit. The loy kara, and she didn't read the psukim. Chalitza sakshir, the chalitza is kosher. Right? Rakaka v'loy chalitza, v'loy kara. If she spit, but she didn't do chalitza and she didn't read the psukim, chalitza is a psula. Then her chalitza is puzzle, right? Because she didn't do the main part, which is taking off the shoe. Kara v'loy rakaka v'loy chalitza. If she read the psukim, but she didn't spit and she didn't take off the shoe, ain't kan beis medrash, then that's mamish nothing, right? Fine. So money. Now, who's the tan of this brisa? Eliezer. If it's Rebbe Eliezer, right? That can't be because it says if you did chalitza and you didn't spit and you didn't read, the chalitza is kosher. Rebbe Eliezer says, this is what should be done to the person who doesn't make his brother-in-law, his brother's, he doesn't marry his brother's wives. Thank you. Right? That anything that's a maisa is ma'akiv. So spitting is a maisa. So therefore we know it can't be Rebbe Eliezer for this price. Ela pshita, Rebbe Kiva. Must be going according to Rebbe Kiva. Right? Who holds that spitting is not ma'akiv. The Katani Rokaka and the Brisa says if they spit v'loy chaltza v'loy kara, chalitza psula, her chalitza is puzzle. Right? Laman. So now, what does he mean that she's puzzle? She's puzzle to who? Alma. If you say that she's puzzle to everybody else, meaning she's not, that's not considered chalitza pshita. Of course, it's pashit. Mi havi chalitza deshtar la'ama is just spitting without taking off the shoe. Going to allow her to go marry anybody else? That can't be. Ela lav la'achin must be. That means that she's puzzle to the brothers, right? Meaning she all she did was spit, and she's still puzzle to the brothers. Shema mina. So we hear from this that even according to Rebbe Kiva, spitting itself is going to make her puzzle to her brothers.
Why is it pashut that the word psula refers to her rather than the chalitza itself?
Well, I mean, if the chalitza itself is puzzle, doesn't that make her? Isn't that a problem?
Why would that make her psula? Chalitza is psula.
Right. So now psula what? What is the ramifications of this psula?
She needs another chalitza.
Okay.
Or yibum. Why does that have anything to do with assur for her to anyone else?
Whoa, shoot. There's a hole in my cup. Sorry. What do you mean? Because there has to be a ramification of the psul.
Why?
What do you mean, why? What is that? What else does it mean that a chalitza is possible?
Man. Wait, before you poured the seltzer into your cup, there was no ramification of the hole in the cup either. It's just a bad cup.
Correct. So it was a bad chalitza. So
Same way
when
you start saying a svara, Gershon. We don't know about a bad cup till you open your mouth.
Oh. Right. You're saying the psula is only on there, but it has nothing to do with
The sukkah psula. That means that the person in it's puzzle.
Well, we have to decide. Well, psula from what? Was he psal? They have to go sit in another sukkah?
Well, he didn't sit in the sukkahs. He has sit in a sukkah. Yeah. So same here. Psula, the chalitza is psula. She needs another chalitza. We're dealing with la'achin, la'alma. The psula is not going on her. The psula is going on the chalitza.
Okay, but obviously, the Gemara is saying that it's not. So you want to say that?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. I don't know. I hear you, Ha'ara, but clearly Gemara is not going with that. Obviously, right?
Yeah, I mean, for the same price, right? The next Gemara's kasha, sukkah goy lamal ma'aser ma'ama psula. Oh, does that mean the sukkah needs a new chalitza?
Well, you need a new sukkah.
No, but she needs.
It's irrelevant to the case, though.
It's not a sukkah. Who cares about the sukkah? A sukkah is nothing unless somebody wants.
But we understand that the word psula is referring to the sukkah, not the person in the sukkah.
Right. I hear. Okay.
So what I'm saying, Gershon, the sukkah, if it's possible or not, doesn't mean any. It doesn't matter. What's the difference? The lady
does. I made a
matters.
bracha of atala.
Don't you find out before you go in the sukkah if it's a kosher sukkah? The sukkah has nothing. Is nothing. It's a person.
That's what we're doing here. We're finding out whether this is a good chalitza or not.
Why?
That's what we're doing here. We're finding out whether it's a good chalitza.
Right.
It's not. So she needs a new chalitza.
Yeah.
And the ramifications to her. Why is the Gemara dealing with that? That's irrelevant. The Gemara is proving from this word
but all right,
it must be going on her.
Yeah. Okay. Right. That's what we're saying. That's what the Gemara is saying, that's what psul is. All right. Let's see about it. Fine. So now we're saying that it has to be Rebbe Kiva, right? This price has to be Rebbe Kiva, and Rebbe Kiva is saying that if a woman does chalitza, it's going to pass it to her brothers. So okay. So then the Gemara says, Rebbe Kiva, right? Maishno rekiko, maishno kriya. What's the difference? How come by spitting he says the chalitza is fine? And how come if you're missing the psukim, right? No, one second. How come how come by spitting she will make her brothers-in-law puzzle? She can no longer marry them. She can no longer do even them. But if she reads a psukim to them, she's not. That's nothing, right? Maishno rekika. How come if she spits, she's going to become puzzled to them? Maishno kriya. So kriya, the isa bein betchila bein besoif. So the answer is that reading, because there's 2 times in the next Mishnah we'll see that when they read, they're busy reading the psukim the whole time. In the beginning of the chalitza, they read the psukim. The end of the chalitza, they read the psukim. So since there's kriya in the beginning and in the end, loy michlafalei, nobody's going to mix it up, and they're not going to say that, oh, this woman read psukim and then she went and got married, even though again, we're talking about a scenario. Let's just make sure we got it all straight. Everybody's on now, right? That we're talking about a scenario where they did a quasi chalitza. There's 3 things that have to be done with chalitza. They both have to read psukim. She has to take off the shoe and she has to spit.
Do we have a right from a pasuk?
What?
Do we have a right from a pasuk for all these 3 things?
Do we have a right? I mean, what do you mean? The pasuk says you got to do all these 3 things.
The pasuk says that?
Yes, it's in the next Mishnah. We asked yesterday, why didn't they put the first Mishnah, the Mishnah that describes all chalitza first before we do all these Gemaras? Okay, I don't know. But either way, there's any of these 3 things, you do it alone, so it doesn't work, except for the spitting. If they do the spitting, then we're chesed that there was some form of chalitza, and therefore she can no longer marry the brothers, even though she's going to need to do a proper chalitza in order to get married to other people. But for the brothers, it's a problem. So how come by reading the psukim, it's not a problem? So he says when somebody sees her reading psukim, and then she goes and gets married to the brothers, nobody's going to think that a yevama is allowed to marry somebody after chalitza, because what they're going to think is that, oh, when I heard her reading psukim, that was only half the psukim. She didn't read the other half, so therefore the whole chalitza was no good, and therefore she's allowed to marry her brother-in-law. But rekika, the betchila lesa ulabasoif isa, the spitting doesn't happen in the beginning of the chalitza; it happens at the end. People are going to mix it up, and then they're going to say, what do you mean? This lady, I saw her spitting, and then she went and married her brother-in-law, right? And the reason the guy's going to think that the spitting was done with a proper chalitza is because after the spitting, there's no multiple spittings, right? Once there's spitting, that's usually the end of the chalitza. The chalitza is usually over after that. So if he saw a woman spitting, even though she did nothing else, he's going to think, oh, I got the end of the chalitza, right? They put big advertisements out there that there's going to be a big chalitza, right? So this guy's running late, and he gets there at the end of the chalitza, and he sees her spitting, and then a week later, she goes and marries the brother-in-law. He says, look at that. They did a chalitza, now she marries the brother-in-law. He didn't realize that she didn't take off the shoe. She just happened to have spat, and that was it. So therefore, he's chesed, Rebbe Kiva's chesed, that since people are going to learn from that, therefore, once she spat, even if she didn't do anything else, she's going to be assur. But if he walks into the chalitza and he sees her reading,
he thinks it's Purim and ladies let ladies learn the Megillah. No?
Right, I'm saying he comes into the chalitza and he sees her reading psukim, and then that's all he sees. And then the next time he sees them getting married a week later, so he thinks, okay, I only saw the psukim at the beginning. Maybe, but she didn't do the rest of the whole chalitza. So therefore, they must not have done a proper chalitza. So therefore, we're not worried about somebody taking the wrong lesson from chalitza. It's a shtickle wild. It's a shtickle wild takana. But that's what the Gemara. That's the chashash of the
This
Gemara.
is only if it happens in the middle of this whole ceremony that you projected. Like she walks past the guy in the street and she spits at him. No.
And a
She
chanami.
hates the guy. She hates these brothers. So she
Yeah.
sees him in the street going into the supermarket. So she spits in his face. No.
Yeah. That could be. That would be a chashash. L'chayra, that would be. I don't think it has to be a ceremony. I think we just
Oh,
making
okay,
the.
fine.
I think yes. Stop if she goes by and see. Well, you might have to say there has to be a din, maybe a bezdin. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not. She goes. She in the grocery store. She gathers. She said, "Hey, you three guys, come on over here." Right? And she quickly spits, and then she knows she's done. Yeah. Anyways, okay. Let's see weiter. V'ika damri. Some say it's a different pshat here. Hachi shalchulei. This is what they sent, right? This is what they sent to Avua de Shmuel. Yevama Sharakaka, a Yevama who spit at her brothers. No tachlites, she has to do chalitza. She doesn't have to spit again. Let's say she walks into the room where they're all getting ready for the chalitza, and she loves her brothers-in-law so much she spits at them right when she comes in. Okay, now she's going to take off the shoe and read the psukim. Does she have to spit again? So he said, no, she does not have to spit again. Why? There was a person that came in front of Rav Ami. Rav Yosef, Rav Abba Baramal come in. Rav Abba Baramal was sitting in front of him. Rokaka mekamei the tachlitz, and she spat before they did the chalitza. Amalei Rav Ami, chalitz lavashari le tigra. Now just take off the shoe, and then the tigra means the deal. The deal is done, and then you've done the deal. So the Amalei Rav Abba, so Rav Abba said to him, but you need to spit. Why are you saying she should just take off the shoe and that's it? Harakakala. He said, what do you mean she did spit? Well, okay, so he says, V'teiruk umabakach, but let her spit again. Who cares? What's the loss for her to spit again? All it is saliva.
Is the order ma'akiv? Is the order ma'akiv here?
That's exactly what he's saying, that the order is not ma'akiv. Right? That's what he was saying. But he's saying, why not? He's saying the mice of the order is not ma'akiv. But what does it hurt to spit again? The mice, what does it hurt to do it in the right order? Good. So she'll have spat and then she'll take off the shoe and then spit again. That's what he's asking. Ma'abakach. No, so he says, no, if you spit, nafik minei churba, then there might come out a destruction from it. Why? Because if you're going to tell us she should go back and spit, Amri, people are going to say, Rekika kamaisa lespa mashosha. People are going to say the first spitting is nothing. And they're going to come allow a chalutza la'achin, because they're going to say, you see, she spat the first time, and then she had to take off the shoe and spit again. That means that in the future, if they ever see a woman spit at her brothers-in-law, it's not going to be it's going to be, they're going to say, oh, it doesn't mean anything, and she can go get married to the brothers-in-law. And that's not true, because Rabbi Kiva had said, or the Mishnah had said, the Beis had said, I'm sorry, that once she spits, she's out from the brothers-in-law. Fine. So then Rabbeinu says, this is what the Gemara asks about being kesidron. What do you mean? You need it to be done in the proper order. Right? So the Gemara answers, kesidron lo ma'akva. It's not ma'akev. The seder of chalitza is not ma'akev. So therefore, if she spat first, we're not going to have her spit again.
What's the minute that have to be beseder?
What?
What's the minute that have to be in order?
I don't know. Why wouldn't you think? I mean, why wouldn't you think it has to be in order?
It could be misleading if, let's say, they do one thing, like you said, a person came in late and only see one thing. It could be misleading what he saw if it's not in order.
Yeah.
Right. Or I'm saying, yeah, you would think that the default should be that it should be in the proper order.
Mm.
Anyway, so Gemara says, "Who suffered chuyu kamad chile?" He thought he was just pushing him off, meaning he didn't really mean that as a real teretz. Nafak dak. He went out and he looked into it by Ashkach, and he found the Tanya. Bein sheiknem chalitza l'rakika, whether the chalitza comes before the saliva. Bein sheiknem rakika l'chalitza. Masha asa asa. What she did was done, and therefore it's considered a good chalitza. Yeah, fine. Levi nafak le-kriyasa. Levi went out to kriyasa. Yeah, and and they started asking him questions. Where is it here? So if you look at Taisus Yeshanim, it's basically what it seems like he was running around looking for jobs as a rabbi, right? And so they gave him a faher, right? So the Levi Nafil Kriyasa Bomine, and they asked him a shaila, Gidemes Mao Shetachlitz, a woman who has no arms, can she do chalitza, right? Because she has to take the shoe, she has to take the sandal off the man. So she has no arms, so can she do chalitza? That was question number one. Yevama Sheraka Kadam Mao, a Yevama who spits out blood, right? What's the din?
Jacob, I would think that's partial like we had on Shabbos' daf with the guy who doesn't have legs. Same case.
Well, that's what it's asking, right? Exactly. You don't have legs, you have to do chalitza off of a leg. So, and she has to take off the shoe, so she has no arms. And then what's the story? So they asked him, and he didn't know. Then they brought him. So what they say to Mefarshim is that so they asked him two halacha, and he didn't know. So they said, okay, maybe he's not a halacha man. Maybe he's an agarata man. So let's ask him some psukim and nach. So aval agid lecha es a roshim b'ksav emes. Right, this is a pasuk in Daniel, right? That he said that he's going to say everything. I'm going to tell you everything that's written in b'ksav emes, with ksav emes, with truth. Mechlal diga ksav she'ein emes. It sounds like, does Hashem have a ksav that's not the truth? Right? Lo yava b'yada, he didn't have it wasn't in his hands. He didn't have the answer to any of these questions. So also shol medrash. So what does any good yeshiva guy do when he goes out into the world and he doesn't have questions that the balabatim are asking? So he goes back to the yeshiva and he asks, what's the story? So Amalei miksiv v'cholza biyad. Does it say anywhere in the Torah that she takes off his sandal with a hand? It doesn't say that. It says just take off the sandal. So like Rashi says, so she'll take it off with her teeth, right? She'll take it off with her teeth. I mean, it'd be weird, but she could do that. And umiksiv v'yarka roik, does it say she has to spit saliva? It just says she has to spit, as long as it's coming out of her mouth, even if it's blood. Aval agid l'char harashim b'ksav emes. But I'm going to tell you what's written, the truthful things that are written. Like kasha, that's not a kasha either. Why? One is talking about by a gezar din that came with a shvua from Hashem. So that is eksav emes, and it can't be taken back. But one is talking about a gezar din that doesn't have a shvua, so then that could be taken back. So therefore, it's not really emes because Hashem, it may not, if we get it to be overturned, so then Hashem, that will not be a emes de gezeira. So who's this like? Rav Shmuel bar Ami, Amar Rav Shmuel bar Ami, Amar Rav Yoinasan, Minayin l'gzar din sheyesh ima shvua she'eina miskareya. How do you know that a gzar din that has a shvua with it, it's not going to get torn up? Shanemar l'chein nishpati lebeis eli im yischaper avoin beis eli b'zevach u'mincha ad olam. He says, I made a shvua for the Beis Eli, right? That their avera that they did is never going to have a kapara, not by a carbon and not with a carbon mincha, right? So the island, where do we have the Gemara? Shabbos, right? With the sons of Eli, right? Chafni, Pinchas and Chafni, right? And they misbehaved. So the Gemara goes through that they really didn't misbehave, right? I think that's a Gemara. What is that Gemara? Brachas. They're also on Shabbos. I don't remember. Somewhere in Mayid, right? Well, we're at the beginning of Nashim, so that it was in Mayid is no great guess, right? Okay, so whatever it is, they really didn't do wrong. Bottom line is that Hashem was unhappy with them, and He said they're never getting a kapara, right? Because that was a takana with the shvua. So Amar Rabba, b'zevach of mincha ein mischaper, right? This vart right here from Rabba is wild, right? He says that the pasuk says b'zevach u'v'mincha there's no kapara, aber mischaper hu b'divrei Torah, but divrei Torah you can get a kapara, right? That's a big musar to be learned here. Meaning he's saying divrei Torah can get you a kapara better than karbanos. Abai omer b'zevach u'mincha ein mischaper b'gemilas chasadim, but you can have it with gemilas chasadim, right? So. Because again, what do you call Marsha?
Isn't that the reason why Shayasha doesn't say carbonis?
What? Because we learn Torah instead.
Yeah,
that's every
what
yeshiva.
I heard.
That's miniga yeshivas is not to say carbonis because they're learning. Yes, I taka wonder. I don't know. Is that based on this? Maybe. I never thought of that. I hear
Why are they davening? Why are they davening? It's like
That's a good Rebbeinu. You know, they nix mincha chazar sashatz for this reason too. Right? They do. So you're onto something there, right? Okay, it's a kasha panamaisa, but that's miniga yeshivas. But anyway, so the Marsha, the art school brings it also. I think.
If you realize a lot of the yeshivas, the newer yeshivas, they do the whole thing.
The chazar sashatz.
They do what?
Chazar sashatz by mincha. Yeah, it's only the old, you know, the old school yeshivas.
I remember I was Rebellia Tzvei. They asked Rebellia if in yeshiva they should do the whole thing. So he thought for a minute, and then he said, yes, you should do it. So Rebellia asked, but you don't do it in Philadelphia. He says, my Rebbe told me that's what I should do. You're starting a new Meisid, I think you should do it.
Oh, yeah? I hear.
You see a lot of new yeshivas, they do chazar sashatz.
Interesting.
Excuse
Is that
me,
what you say? You wanted to make sure that the
Rabbi
Archie
Gold,
wasn't on the Madrigal of
Rabbi
Philly.
Gold, excuse me, Rabbi Gold.
Yeah.
In the Rebbe's minion, in the office in the yeshiva, they do chazar sashatz or no?
That's a different story. That's not the Bachram. I can really technically skip Mincha.
Yeah, because all those people got to go eat lunch. Not going sitting down and learning.
Reb Aaron. No, Reb Aaron, the Rebbe's are zicher learning the whole time. What a question.
The office, what do you know what we do in the office?
I
Listen.
davened there one time. It was
Yeah,
mechayitik. There was no chazar sashatz and there was no pushka. It was a pleasure to daven there.
Very good. Very good.
If you would have stuck
Okay.
around, there would have been a gourmet lunch also. You just left too early.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm saying this. So this Torah, right? So he brings in the Marsha. Torah avoida gemilas chasadim. That's what the world stands on. So avoida what didn't work, right? For Bnei Eli, Hashem saying the avoida part I don't want from you. So Torah and gemilas chasadim will work, right? So Rabba of Abayim the Beis Eli calls. So Rabba and Abaya both came from Beis Eli. Rabba the Asik B'Torah Chayar Banshnin. Rabba who was Isaac in Torah. He lived 40 years because really they're not supposed to live long lives. The Bnei Eli. Abaya the Asik B'Torah Ubi gemilas chasadim Chayar Shisin Shnin. He lived 60 years. Right. So you see that Torah together with gemilas chasadim is better than just straight Torah. Right. Fine. Torah Rabbanon, Mishpacha Achas Hazik Yerushalayim. There was a family in Yerushalayim. Shayumeisim Keben Shmaina Esrei Shana. They would die at around 18 years old. Bo Vaydi was Rabban Yochanan and Zaka. They went and told of Yochanan and Zaka. Amar Lahem Shemem Mishpachas Eliatem. Maybe you're from Mishpachas Eli. So this sounds like a Rav Chaim Kanievsky story, right? Shenemar V'chol Marbis Beischa Yamusu Anoshim. All those people that were brought up in your house are going to die young. Right, that was another punishment from the Bnei Eli. So you go learn Torah and you'll live. And they lived, which is very interesting because why didn't he tell him to learn Torah and gemilas chasadim? Right? If Abaya lived an extra 20 years because he was Isaac in Torah gemilas chasadim, it's the one Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai tell them to do Torah and gemilas chasadim. They would have lived even longer l'chayra. So I don't know what the pshat in that is, but okay. So
maybe Yerushalmi family. The gemilas chasadim was pashut.
But then they should have lived. I mean, they did gemilas chasadim without Torah.
No, without the Torah. Yeah.
I hear. Okay, but you Karin Isam Mishpachas Yochanan al Shemai. They called him the Mishpach of Yochanan because he fixed them up. Fine. Amar of Shmuel Bar Unya Amar Rami Nine Gezar Din Shel Tzibur Shein Nechtam. How do we know that Gezar Din? Since we've been talking about Gezar Din, we said that Hashem makes Gezar Din with a Shvua. It's irrevocable. So what now was saying, how do you know that Gezar Din of a tzibur is never sealed? So Gemara says, "Ein nechtam v'aksiv ki im tikhabsi b'neser." If you're going to wash me with soap, v'sar bilach buris, and also a different type of soap, nechtam avoynech lefani. It's still going to have a stain. Right? It's a pasuk in Yirmiyah. So you could wash and wash and wash it. The stain, which is considered the avera, is still going to be there. So you see that it could be a gezeira stays. So elaminayin shafilu nechtam, meaning it could be. Meaning, you seeing averas can't necessarily be totally forgotten. Elaminayin shafilu nechtam miskara. How do you know that even if it is sealed, it can be ripped up? Shenemar mika Hashem elekenu b'chol kareinu alav. Who is like Hashem when we call him, right? Which is what Hashem said. Whenever we call Hashem, Hashem will be there to answer us. Saying when it asks, look for Hashem when he could be found. It's mashma that he can't be found all the time. Right? So again, one pasuk mashma that anytime the tzibur wants Hashem, he'll be available. And the second pasuk says no, it's only when he's found. So like Kasha, right? We had this before also. I don't remember where. Haba Yachid, or maybe Rosh Hashanah. So we said Haba Yachid, Haba Tzibur. One is talking about a Yachid, one is talking about a Tzibur. A Yachid can only find Hashem when Hashem is making himself available. A Tzibur can get Hashem whenever they want, right? Yachid Amos. When is a Yachid? What?
We had that shot, I think, when it came to Elul. There's Hashem Matzah.
Right, so that's exactly
that's Elul.
Right, so but it's really aseres yemei, which is the Gemara is going to say, right? After we extend it to Elul, right? So Amar Rav Nachman Amar Rav Avuah, Elu Asar Yom Sheben Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. When can a yachid, right? We just had this, no? Right, I wanted to learn out from this that you could daven be yachidus during aseres yemei, right? That was my limud from this, or somebody, right? Because if he's there, so then you whatever. Anyways. But by aseres
that's not such a wise choice.
No, it's not. It's not. But that's the deal.
Okay.
Right. Fine. So Shochulei Lavud. So that's the Agarata. Fine. Shochulei Lavi is the first Agarata. We have more on the Beis. Shochulei Lavud the Shmuel. Yevama Shirokah Dam. So they sent to Shmuel's father a Yevama that spit out blood. Tachloitz. She has to do chalitza. Tachloitz. She has to do chalitza. Right. Let's say she spit blood out at her brother-in-law, right? So she still has to do another chalitza because that's not considered a kosher spitting, right? Because why? Because every blood from the mouth has to have some form of saliva. Meisvei, but they ask Kasha from a brayso, you would think that by a zav, right? Any liquids that come out of a zav is tummy. So you would think that if there's blood coming out of the zav's mouth, or from his aver, if he's bleeding from his aver, you would think that also is matama. But it's referring to the liquids that are supposed to come out, like saliva and zera, urine, whatever it is, but not blood. So is blood considered like a liquid to come out of the body or not? So it's a stira. So we say, like kasha, kanpa maitzetzes, kanpa shaises. When it's maitzetzes from the word mitzitza, when it has to be sucked out, meaning if somebody's bleeding a little bit from their mouth and they suck the blood from the gums or whatever and then spit it, that's going to have saliva with it. But where the blood is flowing, like the blood is the gushing blood from the mouth, then l'chayr, that's pure blood without any saliva, and therefore that would not be good enough for chalitza, right? So it's just differentiating between how much blood is coming out of the mouth or not. Fine. Then we say, so if you have a deaf person, and either he's deaf, she's deaf, the chalitza is no good. On with Beis. So Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, so the Rameir. That's the Shitas Rameir, right? And then then we're going to go on to cotton, that it doesn't work for cotton. So we're saying Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, Zu Divra Rameir. That's Shitas Rameir. Chamamayim ein chalitza cotton klum. The chalitza of a cotton is mamish nothing, right? Meaning, Rameir holds that when a cotton does chalitza, it's like a get. It's like a gadol giving a get. So therefore, she makes all the brothers puzzle, right? But the chachamim say no, it's nothing, and the brothers are still free to do yibum to her. Fine, katana shechalza. Let's say the female does chalitza, so we said she has to do chalitza again after she becomes bas mitzvah. Some Yehuda Marav Zudev Rameir. That's Shitas Rameir, right? Damar ish kasab parsha. It says ish, right? Umakshinon ishal ish. We make a comparison between a ishal ish. Avachachamim ish ksiv parsha. It says ish isha bein gedayla bein katana. He says there's no hekish. It says ish, so the guy has to be over bar mitzvah. But by isha, it's whether she's gedayla, whether she's a katana. Fine. So man chachamim. So who is exactly the Chacham? Rabbi Yosi? It's Rabbi Yosi. Now the Gemara goes through a long Maisa over here, a wild Maisa. It's a wild Maisa, a wild story. It takes us for the most of the Amud. The Reb Chia and Reb Shimon bar Rebbe. So Reb Chia and Reb Shimon bar Rebbe have a Yasvi. They were sitting. Pasach had minay over Amar, and one of them started saying, "Hamispalol tzara she'itin ein of lamata." If somebody who davens, and this is talking about after the Churban, when there's no longer the Shechina by the Beis Hamikdash, so somebody who davens has to look down towards Eretz Yisrael. I didn't get clear exactly why down is towards Eretz Yisrael, but okay, you have to look down towards Eretz Yisrael. Shenemar, Vayu einai v'libi sham kol hayamim. My eyes and my heart are there all on all days. Right? So it's from this pasuk, it's mashma that the Shechina is still in the by the Beis Hamikdash, even though there's a Churban. You have to keep your eyes up, which means there is the Shechina is not by the Beis Hamikdash. You have to look towards Tut Shemaim, Shenemar, because it says in the pasuk, Nisa levavenu al kapayim, lift up our hearts to our hands or with our hands, right? So you have to go towards Shemaim. So Adahachi, meanwhile, also Rabbi Yishmael bar Rabbi Yossi l'gavayo, Rabbi Yishmael bar Rabbi Yossi came to them. Amar lahu, he said to them, "B'mayaski." So what are you busy with? Amrulay b'tfila. We're busy we're talking about tefillah. Amar lahu. So he said to them, "Kach amar Abba." This is what my father had said, meaning Rabbi Yossi. Hamispalol tzara she'itin ein of lamata v'liba l'mal. You got to do both. If you're davening, you have to put your eyes down, and your heart you have to look up. So you have to mix both, right? So you have to look towards the Beis Hamikdash, and you have to also look towards the sky. Kadesh Yiskayim Shnei Mekrayis Halalu, in order that you mekayim to these two psukim. Fine. So that's the first part of the story. That has nothing to do with our Gemara, obviously. Adahachi, but meanwhile, also Rebbe L'Masifta, Rebbe came to the shir. Right? Inu, and Rashi says, and they all had to go scramble. This is the shmooze before the shir. So now they have to all run and find their seats for the shir. Inu, to have a klili yasir v'duchtayim. So those that were light, that's a literal translation, would sit quickly to their place, meaning they ran and they found their spots. Back then, everybody had their unique position where they went to shir, depending on the chashivos and who they were, etc., etc. Rabbi Yishmael bar Rabbi Yossi, who was not skinny, agav yukre, because he was fat. I mean, yokar means heavy, whatever. Yokar, there's different ways to teach it, but have a mefaseh va'ozl. He was slowly walking because it took him time to get to his place. Amalei Avdon. So Avdon said to him, Rashi says he was a Talmud of Rebbe. I guess it sounds like he was Rebbe's Gabbai, right? He said, Mihu zeshem mafaseh al Rosh Yom Kodesh. Who is this person stepping all over everybody's heads? Right? Because they sat on the floor and he's walking over everybody to get to his spot. She says, who is this guy? So Amrlei, Ani Yishmael bar Rabbi Yossi. He says, it's Yishmael bar Rabbi Yossi. Shabasi lilmay Torah mi Rebbe. I came to learn Torah from Rebbe. Amrlei, he said to him, B'chi'ata hagan lilmay Torah mi Rebbe. Are you proper? Are you roy to learn Torah from Rebbe? Right? So, meaning he wasn't happy with the way he was still walking to his seat. Was Moshe was Moshe fitting to learn Torah from Hashem? So he said to him, "Are you Moshe?" I mean, this is a real back and forth over here between Avdon and Rabbi Yishmael Rabbi Yossi. So, are you Moshe? Is your Rebbe? Meaning Rebbe, is he Hashem? Right? So Amar Rabbi Yosef, so Rabbi Yosef says, Shakli Rebbe limitafsere. Right? Elio Ikavik, this Gemara is for you. Right? So Rebbe got his punishment for being quiet and not getting involved, that Avdon was giving an insult to Rabbi Yishmael, Rabbi Yosef. The Ka'amar Lei Rabach, he said, your Rebbe, Eloi Rebbe, meaning Rabbi Yishmael Rabbi Yossi did not call Rebbe his Rebbe. He called him his, meaning he wasn't Makabel Rebbe as his Rebbe. He called him Rabach, your Rebbe, meaning Avdon's Rebbe, but he did not accept him as his Rebbe. So the Gemara is saying that's because Rebbe did not get involved in the disagreement. Fine. Adahachi, Asi Yevama Lakamei de Rebbe. So now we get to the whole point of the story. Then a Yevama came in front of Rebbe. Now I don't know if this was in the middle of the shir, still before the shir. I don't know exactly, right? But Yevama came from Rebbe, in front of Rebbe. Amrle Rebbe la Avdon. So Rebbe told Avdon, Puk Bodka, go check her out to see if she has teshuva. I have no idea what that means either, right? I'm saying he's going to examine her to see if she has teshuva, or he says
we'll
go take
to
her,
the doctor and find
go
out.
bring her to a. I mean, it's.
Go
I mean, it's a.
find
I mean, you have
out.
the ikar is chasam and a sefer if you say that pshat. I mean, you can't deny. He says go check her.
The
Right?
checking is to bring it to the mikveh lady. That's how
Yes,
he's checking.
okay, good, but it doesn't say Hanami, but it doesn't say. I'm saying if somebody said that he had to check her, he's not going to say he's not
Yaakov,
reading it.
And all
Yeah.
the schools that have the Rebbe who checks the girls' skirts.
That's a good
Parents,
motion.
cut it out already.
I wasn't talking about Darche.
Parents, behave.
Anyway, so
You're going to be spent 3 weeks.
that's right. He's got to get
Okay,
it all
Baruch
out now.
Hashem, he has one down, so he's allowed to say something.
Yeah. Anyways, so Puk.
And the next one is Shmuel, that's the boy, so he could say something now.
Yeah. Puk. So it says anyway. Puk Badka, go check her out. Labasa the Nofak. After he went out, Amalei Rabbi Shmuel Kach Amar Abba. So Rabbi Shmuel told Rebbe, "This is what my father Rabbi Yossi said. Ish kosav b'parsha. It says a man. Aval Isha bein gedol ben katana. You don't have to go check her out for the shtei cyrus, because even if she's a katana, she could do the chalitza, because my father Rabbi Yossi held that it's fine. So Amalei Ta. He told Avdon, he says, come back, let's we don't need you. Kfar Hayra Zakin, because the Zakin already set up psak. So that's the bottom line where the Gemara brings this whole story, is to show that Rabbi Yossi held that a katana could do chalitza. So now the same story happens, the opposite. So now Avdon is coming back into the shir, and he's stepping over everybody's heads to come back into the shir, because Rebbe sent them out to check out this girl. So Amalei Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi, Misha tzarich am kaddish. Only somebody who the am kaddish who Klal Yisrael needs yifasei al rashi am kaddish can step over people's heads. Misha ain't tzarich am kaddish. But if the am kaddish doesn't need him, heich yifasei al rashi am kaddish. How can he step over people's heads? Meaning, Avdon, we don't need you now. If you were coming back with the girl and proving whether she had shtei cyrus or not, so then we needed you here. But now we don't need you here because your shlichus is over with. So why are you stepping over everybody's heads? So Amrale Rebbe la'avdan. So Rebbe Taka told Avdon, kum beduchte, stop, stay where you are, stop walking over people's heads, right? Because there's no reason for you to. Right?
Why couldn't he use the Hatzalah answer, saying he needs to be back so that he can send them on the next mission?
Oh, you mean that? I guess he could have called out to him to send them on the next mission. No, I hear what you're saying. Fine.
Maybe Rebbe El Tchilasi Mishum Seifei, but not Seifei Mishum Tchilasi.
Maybe. Anyways, yeah. So he told him to stay there. So now this is the ta'ana. So it's taught in the Brisa, but at that time it's Tara Avdon. Avdon had tzaras. He got tzaras, right? Because he spoke lashon hara on Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yossi. V'tavu shnei banov, and two of his kids drowned, right? Umianu shtei kaloisav, and his two daughters-in-law did mian, right? So, okay, so that we'll see, but exactly what was going on with that. But those were his punishments for what he did to Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yossi. So Amar Rav Nachum Bar Yitzchak, Baruch Rachman. One second. So Amar Rav Nachum Bar Yitzchak, Baruch Rachman de Kaspi la'avdan b'hai alma. Baruch Hashem, that he got his punishment in this world, right? That's what we just learned in Orchot Tzadikim, right? That you get punishment in this world if you're a tzaddik. Yeah, what are you saying?
It was normal practice then that 11-year-olds got married?
Seems like it.
Two of them.
Yeah, that's what you have to say. Yeah. Fine. So Amar Rav Ami midvar shall beribi nilman, from the words of beribi, right? Which beribi is like a lashon of chashivas. We learn out right? It's talking about Rabbi Yossi, katana chalitza, but peutas, a katana can do chalitza, but she has to get to the age of peutas. So peutas is when she can start doing business, like when she can do mekach umemka, Rashi says, right? So I don't know exactly how they know what the age is, but once she understands purchasing and or any of the kids understand it, so then that's enough to do chalitza. Rava Amar Nadarim. No, it's not at that young. She has to be able to do Nadarim. Nadarim starts from age 11. The Hilchas on the halachas Cyrus. Bottom line is we don't paskin after this whole Maisa. We don't paskin like Rav Yossi, and the girl needs to have Shtei Cyrus. We don't paskin like that. Yeah, fine. Chaltza b'shnayim. So if she did chalitza with two people, two dayanim, so Amar, so we had a 3-year machlokes, right? Whether two dayanim works or not. So Amar Rav Yosef Bar Yemei, Amar Rav Nachman, ein halacha zug. The halacha is not like that pair, right? It's like the Tanakama that hold the pair. Who was it? What was it called again? It was forgot already. The I don't remember. Either way, that there were two Tanoim who said that two dayanim is enough. Right, so we don't go like that. Oh, Rav Nachman already said it once before. Rav Yosef Bar Yemei, Rav Nachman, chalitza b'shleisha. Chalitzas with 3. So when it says tzrichi, no, we needed to say it twice. If we said the first time that the chalitza needs 3, it needs 3 dayanim lechatchila. What would the evid? Afilu trev, but the evid even 2. Kamash malon ein halacha zug. So teaches that the halacha is not like that pair. And if you said Allah is not like that pair, like the Tanakama, who says 3, the Evid. That's only the Evid. Maybe only the Evid is 3 dayanim. But really, you should have 5 dayanim, which Rashi says in order to publicize it. Taisa says in order to publicize it. So tzricha, that's why you need to say it twice to tell you that even the Evid you need 3, and you don't need 5 lechatchila. 3 all the way is good enough. Fine.
It's not an interesting taisvis.
Right.
This shita
We
is
don't
Rabbi
do Tosfos, we just do the daf.
The shita of 5 is Rabbi Yehuda.
Correct.
And Rabbi Yehuda said before that the reason for 5 was the persumeni, the fact that the persumei milsa.
Right.
So he's saying we don't pass him like Rabbi Yehuda, but you keep the persumei milsa.
Correct. But that was a havamina. It's a havamina.
What? Taisus is not.
No, but Taisus is saying. Taisus psak that look. All right.
Yeah,
Taisus says lamaisa you should try and have 5. I don't know
keep
if we're
the
reason,
but not the halach.
Yeah. Okay, one more last Gemara here is very interesting Gemara. Ma'aser shechaltza. So we said it was a story that one couple, they were in jail and they did chalitza with each other. Right? So they went to Rabbi Kiva, and Rabbi Kiva said it's kosher chalitza, even though nobody saw it. How does anybody know? They did it by themselves. How does anybody know? It's talking about where Adam saw them do the chalitza. Adam were looking in the jail, right? And they saw that they did the chalitza. Right? So obviously there were no there was no dayanim there. So that's what Rabbi Kiva is saying, that Rabbi Kiva says that you don't need to have dayanim with the Evan, which we say we don't paskin like. But it is mashma that you need Adam. Right? Which we do. Fine. Then he what was the story here? They did the chalitza outside of the jail, and the story came to Rabbi Kiva. As we all know, Rabbi Kiva was jailed, right? Rabbi Kiva was put in jail, so that's where the maisa, meaning they did the chalitza themselves, and they came to ask Rabbi Kiva about it when he was in jail. The story happened when they were in jail. Some Rabbi Yehuda Amarav, it's the Beis assur and hayemaisa. It happened in jail. Ula Beis assur and ba maisa, and the story came to Rabbi Kiva when he was in jail. So everything happened in jail. The couple did the chalitza in jail, and Rabbi Kiva answered in jail. Tosfos, very interesting. Tosfos brings you Yerushalmi. What exactly happened here? Meaning he was jailed. They weren't allowed to learn Torah. How exactly did they go ask Rabbi Kiva the shaila in the jail? Right? So Tosfos says Rabbi Yochanan Asandler, the second line up from the bottom, Tosfos says that Rabbi Yochanan Sandler came in front of the jail, and he talked in hints to Rabbi Akiva. He yelled out in front of the jail when he saw Rabbi Akiva. He says, "Who wants machten? Who needs needles? And who needs tziburs? Who needs little pipes?" Right? And then after he said that, he says, "Somebody does chalitza alone. What's the din?" So then Rabbi Akiva answered him back, and he says, it's kosher. It's kushan, it's kosher, it's kosher." And that's how in code, that's how he found out about it from, right? So meaning Rabbi Akiva, when he asked Rabbi Akiva, "Do you have hooks or do you have pipes?" And Rabbi Akiva answered back and says, "Do you have koshin?" Which is koshin is some sort of also this type of small thing. "And do you have kosher?" So therefore, he was hinting to them that yes, Beina Levein Atzma is kosher. So that was the hidden code that went on between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Akiva in order to get the psak. Okay, we'll stop here. Tomorrow night, another fascinating daf tomorrow night. Bez Hashem. Okay. Sei gesund.
Yeah, which side am I?
No, it's just when the rabbi is not getting involved. He got punished.
Right, yeah.
That's all I'm saying. All right, I'm going to run out to Chap Meir. All right.
Shikayach.
Sei gesund.
Gute Nacht.